I grabbed 2 glass vases from my local craft store in 2 different sizes and some flowers from nickseasonaldecor.com. I'm going to begin by taking my smaller vase. It's slightly smaller than the bigger one, and it's going to make sense in just a minute. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and place it inside of the larger one. Now I have a battery pack of lights. You can pick them up in different colors. They can flash, whatever you choose. Now that we have our wires all straightened out, we can begin working them in. And since there's 2 containers, I'm placing mine between the outside container. So by having 2 different containers, it helps in 2 different ways. First of which being, I'm using artificial flowers today. However, you absolutely can do this with fresh flowers from your garden or from the grocery store. And by using 2 containers, you prevent the water or the batteries and the lights to be sitting in the water, which will damage them over time. And then I'll just take the battery pack, place it on top so we can work in our florals. And after we work in our florals, we'll easily be able to hide this battery. Now I have some of these beautiful blue Real Touch hydrangeas, and I think these will look great year round. They're really popular, and you can find them and other flowers at nickseasonaldecor.com. I brought home 5 of them, and one of my favorite things about these hydrangeas is that they actually already have a lot of foliage, unlike most. So these have a nice long stem with an additional branch, and I think those will look really pretty all alone. And with the battery pack right in the middle, I'm going to just take my flowers and place them like so. Now let's add a little flair to this. So we're going to just bend our stems for some added realism. So just separate your hydrangeas so that you're able to see each and every one. I'm going to take my ivy and just bend our stems down a little bit. I really want some of this greenery to cascade over the edge of the container. And here is how it looks in my kitchen, and I absolutely love it. We used 1 battery pack of LED fairy lights, 2 vases that you can reuse over and over and over again, 5 Real Touch blue hydrangeas, and a few ivies, and that is it. I absolutely love it, and it was so budget friendly to create. And the battery pack is easily accessible, so you can turn this on and off, and it also has a timer where you can have it set for as many hours as you would like. So it's easy to access, and all you have to do is just reach into the flowers.
We are going to make some beautiful home decor items using clear Elmer's glue. Up first, we are going to fill this vase with the clear glue. The idea is we want this to look like water. Then we're going to add in some clear and white decorative pebbles. Now I'm going to grab some faux flowers. I chose these roses that have a few leaves and some baby breath on them, and I trimmed them so that there are single stem roses. Now I'm just going to stick these into that glue. Now what's nice is that this doesn't dry right away, so you've got some time to really arrange these flowers exactly how you want them. You can move them around, make sure they're sticking in between the stones. Once you've got them arranged just right, set this aside and let it dry. Now you have a permanent floral arrangement that looks like it has these water and stones in the bottom of it. This is going to look great in your home.
Pick up these glass gems at Dollar Tree to make this craft. Grab a vase. I'm using just a clear, straight-sided vase that I had, but you could use any vase you already have. Now I'm going to use some hot glue and start gluing the gems around the vase. I'm spacing them evenly apart along the bottom, and now I'm just going to work my way up until the entire vase is covered with glass gems. The color of the gems does not matter because we're going to cover this with paint. I'm going to take this vase outside and spray it down with a black spray paint. I'm going to use a couple of coats to make sure the sides of all of the gems are covered. Now I have a really elegant looking vase that I can use for every season.
Next up, we are going to grab a couple glass mason jars and we are going to tint these. So you're going to grab a small dish and you're going to fill it with clear glue and a little bit of water. I used about 2 tablespoons of glue and about 1 tablespoon of water. Then I'm going to drop in a little bit of food coloring. I want this to look like a teal blue color, so I'm adding a few drops of blue and 1 drop of green. Then stir it up until it's mixed really well. Now we want to coat the inside of the jar. So grab your mason jar, make sure it's nice and clean, pour that dark blue mixture into the jar and swirl it around so it covers everything. Once you've swirled it all around, you can dump the excess back into the original container. Make sure you're working on a covered surface because this food coloring will stain your table. So I've got some paper down here. Now we want to let this drip for a little bit. I'm just going to add some popsicle sticks to the top of the dish, put the jar right on top of it, let it drip for about 10 minutes. Once it's done dripping, take a paper towel, wipe off any excess drips that are around the rim of the jar, then place this upside down on a piece of parchment paper and pop it in your oven at 175 for about 20 minutes. This is going to bake that coloring onto the inside of the jar. After 20 minutes, take it out, turn it right side up, and let it cool completely. If after it's cooled you still see some streaks, you can put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. These jars make great decor around your home. Just remember, they're not vases, you can't fill them with water, but you can definitely display some dried flowers in them.
Grab some clear vases the next time you're at the dollar store. I want to glue 3 of the vases in a stack. I'm using 5-minute epoxy to attach them together. I'm dipping the top of the first glass into the glue, and then I'm going to set another one on top of it. To decorate the first stack of vases, I want to keep it simple. I'm going to use some white paint to paint all of the outside glass. I want to make sure to get in between the vases as well and around the rim so that all of the glass is covered. For my second stack of glasses, I want to use some alcohol ink to color the glass. To make sure the glass is clean, I'm going to wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol first. Now I can start to decorate them with the alcohol ink. I have some ink here in blue and a deep purple that I think is going to be lovely. I can move the stack around to allow the ink to cover different areas as well. Once I have a design I like, I'm going to go ahead and let this dry before adding another layer. You can see how beautiful the ink is already, so I'm just going to add a little bit more to give it a deeper color. Once this dries, it'll be ready to use, and I can add some flowers or a candle to the bubble vases. I love how different these 2 vases look, but how pretty they both are.
I spotted this modern ceramic vase on the internet and I thought, hey, I can get a similar great look for less using PVC plumbing parts. How fun! First, I removed those price stickers using an adhesive remover. As I didn't want the flanges on the ends, I used my bandsaw to trim them off. No need to be exact. You can also use a handsaw for this too. With a sanding block, I cleaned up all the frayed edges. Then, using my miter saw, I trimmed 5 pieces of the dowel, no particular length, just to use as plugs for the bottoms. While my vase won't hold water, it is possible to seal the wood plugs and the ends, or to slip in leak-proof plastic sleeves. Time to glue the plumbing parts together. You can arrange them any way you like, but just be sure that the footing is stable so it doesn't tip over. Here I used an adhesive similar to super glue, which can also be used. I used hot glue as well to show you that many types of adhesives are possible so long as it's meant for plastics. There's raised printing on my parts, so I opted to use a bit of paintable caulk to texture over those and to also give the whole vase a slightly similar texture to ceramic. Use as little or as much as you'd like. Once everything was dry and set, I grabbed my can of spray paint to give everything a nice, even finish. This PVC vase ended up so chic and modern. I really got a terrific look in minutes and for less.